Sometimes to me it feels like a bit of a shame that all competitive CSGO maps are almost entirely static. On every official map, almost everything is completely stationary, while this is pretty much accepted as standard in Counter-Strike. The Source engine, which as you all know the game runs on, has extensive support for interactive stuff in maps, demonstrated very well in Half-Life 1 and 2. While working on that map for my Bombsight C sketch, I started a server with a friend just to show him all the cool stuff I'd made, but before we knew it, half of our friends list had joined and we were battling out across a broken Dust 2 T-spawn with half the walls missing, but due to the cool set pieces I made, being the functioning door and lift, it was still a lot of fun, and nothing in normal play has ever quite matched the feeling of anticipation as I wait for the lift to reach the next floor, knowing full well a Negev-wielding terrorist might be on the other side of the doors at my destination floor, waiting to greet me with a premature birthday present of several bullets to the face. And up until the doors open, I am essentially Schrodinger's cat of war. Now obviously this is a completely non-competitive setting, but why should that mean that the aforementioned door and lift should automatically be too? Needless to say they need some tweaking, for example adding some safety features so that things cannot directly harm you, but I think they would work well in a competitive environment if implemented well. They could even be tied directly to gameplay, for example doors that open or close when the bomb has been planted to change how the map works in a retake situation. Hell, bomb sites even have the output bomb planted. I'm not saying this should be thrown into existing maps for the sheer hell of it, but in future maps it would be nice to have something like it for a change. I'm sure many will pass off interactive elements as a gimmick, and maybe they're correct, but I don't see a problem with a gimmick if it makes playing the map a lot more fun and a unique experience. Here are just a few ideas of the things that are possible. Doors, lifts, moving platforms, trains. I'm pretty sure this is how they work. Lights that know when the bomb has been planted, low gravity rooms, and last but not least, this pointless button! Things such as lifts were seen in CS 1.6 maps like the previously mentioned Deef option. Although that said, seeing as maps back then could be likened to labyrinths where half the wall textures looks like someone had threw up on a desktop scanner and magnified the resulting image 10 times in paint, I'm looking at you, D-Nuke Rock Walls, which makes it quite hard to blame mappers for getting a little bit bored and adding a Half-Life 1-esque lift with homicidal tendencies. But after all, perhaps things like that don't have a place in Counter-Strike today, even with safety features. After all, I'm not saying that static maps can't be fun either, and obviously the game's meta is very much based around the fact that maps are static. And there are many good reasons that it should stay that way, as some moving things tend to be very buggy. For example, physics barrels that sadly had the small problem of rendering you unable to move should one decide to roll through part of your body, making you a sitting duck until it either rolls away, usually at a painfully slow speed, or an enemy comes along and puts you out of your misery. So, CS community, I ask you, if someone was to implement interactive bits in maps in a meaningful and interesting way, would it ruin everything? Would it add to the gameplay? Tell us more in the comments. What do you think? Oh, and finally I'd just like to thank all my subscribers for being so patient. I know it's been a while since the last video.